about movies. Okay. First things first, my non-spoiler review, Mission Impossible 7.
Give it away.
It is so great. So great. It's such a fantastic movie. I give it a 9.5. It was fantastic. Tom Cruise gives a great performance. Everybody's great. The cast, the crew, everybody. It has a great story that is completely political. Like it is 100% full-on politics. But it's so great because the intensity is great. The action is great. It's exciting. It has great characters. There's a plot and a story connected to all the politics going on. With this new villain, is a part of a bigger villain. That's really, really great. And I loved it. It was very timely. It was very modern. It was dealing with modern politics, but in a way that was really engaging and fun to watch. And not to spoil, but Mission Impossible 7 did what Indiana Jones 5 failed to do, which is you introduce this strong female character, but the problem with Indiana Jones 5, maybe just because of Kathleen Kennedy's stupid ass, is that Phoebe Waller-Bridge spent most of her time being an asshole until like the last 30 minutes of the movie. And this isn't her fault. She's a great writer and a really great actress. I mean, she did what she was hired to do. But the whole time, her character was being disrespectful to Indiana Jones and insulting him, and was doing everything at the end of that movie. I'm kind of spoiling Indiana Jones 5, but most people ain't gonna see the shit. And by the end of the movie, he's basically not doing anything. He got shot and is basically taken hostage. And she's doing everything by herself because it's strong feminist woman time. And it was just so stupid. And it made Indiana Jones look like a weak, pathetic, feeble man. And maybe Harrison Ford was okay with that because he's sick and tired of playing a character and these movies suck. Like the last two movies are bad. He just doesn't care. He looks bored. And he gives such a shit performance. And I don't blame him because there's just no passion there. It sucks, and you can see that. They spent $390 million for what? For the de-aging technology that looks like shit, but whatever. Mission Impossible 7 has kind of the similar plot device with Haley Atwell's character in Mission Impossible 7, but she's not disrespecting Ethan Hunt. In fact, as the movie continues, she's admires him because he's just as competent as she is, if not more so. And he actually outsmarts her in many ways. And Ethan Hunt is never put down or disrespected. He is constantly at the focus. He is constantly the hero, and he is the good guy, right? So while Mission Impossible 7 is very political, it's progressive in many ways. It's made for a modern audience too. Ethan Hunt it's not woke, right? Where the straight white guy is disrespected for stupid reasons, for unnecessary amount of reasons. And I loved it. It was great. It was great to see a movie that was just there to entertain. It was serious. It was dramatic. And Tom Cruise and Christopher McGreevy showed, and both of these movies are made at the same time, how to introduce a new strong female character through the main character without disrespecting the male character, right? The main male character. Like you don't have to put down the male character to make the woman look great. The female character in the movie was great and competent, but Ethan Hunt is still the hero, still competent, and she's never disrespecting him or putting him down. And they're really just equals. And I loved it. It was great.
I'm gonna be honest. When it comes, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to when it comes to introducing a new character, it's very simple. It's very easy. It's not rocket science. You don't have to be a neural brain surgeon of a nanomolecular level biological field. When you want to introduce a new character, you keep the existing characters as they are, and just
Yeah, go ahead.
and you just write the new character in without shoehorning all of this nonsensical crap or disrespecting the already established character.
Yeah, and making the main character like a fucking ragdoll. I mean, that's what they turned.
Look. I'm gonna borrow for a second. This is your main character. This is your main character. You don't need to do anything to the main character to shoehorn a new character.
Yeah,
It's
and
not that hard. By the way, an empty cup and a bottle of water is great. Why? Because you pour some water into the cup. They complement each other. That's how it should be when it comes to writing a new character.
And it's like, you know, and Indiana Jones is basically like a rag doll by the end of the movie. He gets shot, he's taken hostage, and for like the last 30, 40 minutes is doing nothing. He's just there. And a lot of the action scenes just feel really bad because he's clearly 80 years old, and when he's throwing punches, he's like really slow. And it just doesn't look convincing where he's 80 years old trying to punching and knocking out men that are like half his age. And it just doesn't look believable.
Mind you, what bothers me most about the beginning of the movie,
it's just
what
not...
bothers me most about the beginning of the movie is that he's banging on people's doors with a bat.
Yeah.
What the? This is a well-respected, well-known famous archaeologist who should be in the school teaching.
And he is, and
lecturer.
he's retiring. And there were many ways of doing this right, but it's like it was just like he was like being brushed to the side by the end of the movie because they wanted to do this spin-off movie to focus on Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
I wouldn't want to watch it.
And I love her as an actress. She's a great writer, but they were setting her up to fail. And luckily, the movie flopped at the box office. No one's going to see it. Hopefully, Kathleen Kennedy gets fired.
No, she won't get fired. Watching from a legal perspective as to why that would not happen, Disney's in no position to pay, to pay her off to get the hell out.
They are. They could give her an exit package of $60 million. They got the money.
I don't think they do.
They do.
Their operating funds are currently going down.
They're getting an income every day. They are getting in money. Do you know what their income is every day? It's like almost $300 million a day. So they got the money to pay her off.
Their parks are losing attendance rate.
No, I mean they have a lot of debt and they're losing money, but they're making money all at the same time. So they have the money to bring her in, and even though their movies have flopped, they're still bringing in the most money at the box office. So they have the money to pay her, and really on paper, this is going to be one of their most profitable years by the end of the year. Not as profitable as last year, but profitable enough. They got the money to give her an exit package. The problem is they have to find a replacement for her, and they don't really have anyone in sight because who the fuck wants the job?
Well, see, the thing with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is that they have their own aspects. They work well together. One is doing his thing, and my problem with
They're creatives, and so let them create. Let them make.
So when it comes to who wants to be CEO, I'll gladly take the job. However, if anything, put George Lucas back.
Yeah.
Just put him as the guy.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Just give it back to him.
At this point, Lucasfilm has only turned out maybe two successful blockbusters.
Yeah. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a success. Little Mermaid is a flop, but not as bad as a flop.
It's a flop.
Elemental, right? It's a flop, but it's
Elemental was a huge flop.
Yeah, but Little Mermaid is a flop, but it's not flopping badly. Indiana Jones 5 is a major flop, but it probably won't be as big. It'll probably be a bigger flop than The Flash, but The Flash is a huge flop. So Warner Brothers is having a worse year this year. Disney's having a bad year, but Warner Brothers is having a worse year.
So, looking at the trailer
and they still got Blue Beetle coming out. That's gonna flop badly.
So I saw
no one's gonna see that shit.
I saw the new trailer they had. It's a lot better than the first one, where at the end I don't know why.
I watched the movie, but no one's gonna see it. It's called Blue Beetle. No one cares. This is a second-rate superhero with a stupid name. There's nothing about the title of that movie that makes people want to see it. It's stupid.
I think
if the Flash couldn't bring people out with bringing back Michael Keaton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman, no one's gonna see Blue Beetle. And Aquaman 2 might flop too.
Well, Aquaman 2 is gonna flop no matter what because it's no longer part of the universe that James Gunn's working on.
And it has crazy. What's her name?
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard. It has her in it. No one wants to see her.
Amber Heard in the film.
No one wants to see that sociopath. So, and what movies is Aquaman competing with? There's like 2 major releases coming out around that time.
What's the name of that freaking film?
December 2023.
Movie release?
Movie releases. Oh Oh yeah, the Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel. That's coming out.
Hopefully that's done correctly. And if it's
I think so. They got the same director, and I
Okay,
love
so-
the third movie.
So yeah, you know, so if it's the same director as Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, we got Wonka coming out, and then we also got the Color Purple adaptation.
What?
So yeah, Aquaman has a lot of competition.
Aquaman's not gonna do well.
It's not gonna do well. I'm sorry. It's got too much.
It's because Amber Heard's in the film.
And if the movies come out in November, if they all get good reviews, and if people like them, like if Dune Part 2 is beloved and has a huge opening weekend, that can still carry over. The Marvels might not do as well as the first movie, but if the Marvels gets good reviews and has good word of mouth, that could hold up well. And then you got the Hunger Games prequel movie, and that gets great reviews and holds up well. So Aquaman is going to be dealing with like seven fucking movies.
I don't understand the point of prequel. Like, all right,
Well, it's a great book. It's a fantastic
the
book.
book's good. Yes.
Have you read the book?
Yes.
The Hunger Games prequel?
No, I've read.
It's a great book.
I read the original 3.
The prequel book is an amazing book. I think that if the movie's faithful, it's going to do a great job.
Well, the problem is Hollywood. Is the problem. A lot of the times they're not.
Well, Lionsgate doesn't not make faithful adaptations, and sometimes their movies are better.
Contraction. They do make faithful adaptations or no?
No, Lionsgate always makes faithful adaptations.
Okay,
the thing but the thing is, a lot of times because the source.
When you say doesn't, you're saying does not. And
No,
when
what
you
I'm
say
saying-
does not, it's a contraction.
No, what I'm saying is that Lionsgate does not make unfaithful adaptations. That's what I'm saying.
Just say
they
they
make
make
they
faithful
make faithful adaptations.
I don't even do grammatical. I don't even do English homework and be like.
They don't not like make unfaithful adaptations, but like I mean, they make faithful adaptations. Like here's the thing, like the Twilight movies were better than the source material, and they were all huge successes at the box office. The Hunger Games movies were better than the books, and they were faithful to the books and still better, right? And they were all box office hits. So of course. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes could be faithful, but the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is actually a fantastic book. And so the movie itself could be great, and hopefully the movie is really, really long, because it is a long book, it's a great book, and there are so many important, pivotal stuff that happens in that book that should be in that movie. So I think the movie should be 3 hours long. I'll see it. I'll sit there for 3 hours.
I want to say that.
And what's crazy is that I saw the trailer, and the trailer was great. And then I finished reading the book, and then I saw the trailer. I was like, oh my god, this is like scene and shot adaptation of the book. Like I can't believe it. Like what I read, and then what I looked at in the trailer was straight from the book. And everybody loves the actress they picked, Rachel Zegler, because she looks like Lucy Graybeard. She looks exactly like her, and she's a great singer. She's a fantastic dancer. She's a great fucking actress. She should have been nominated for West Side Story.
She's a show woman, is what she is.
What?
She can sing, dance, act. That's a show woman.
She's a triple threat, basically. And she's she was great in West Side Story. She should have been nominated for the Oscar. I mean, I was happy Kristen Stewart got nominated. Keep that nomination. Take out Nicole Kidman and put in Rachel Zegler. I mean, Nicole Kidman was good in her movie, but she wasn't that great to get nominated. Rachel Zegler was incredible in West Side Story.
I must interrupt you.
And hold on. And Rachel Zegler should have been nominated for the Oscar. She was great. And so in this movie, I know she's going to be great. I know she's going to knock it out of the park.
I must interrupt you and say this. On behalf of the people who are very biased on the people they choose for their nominations, how dare you?
What the fuck? You don't even watch the Oscars.
I don't watch it. Why do I don't want to watch rich people get an award for giving themselves an award by nominating themselves.
I love the Oscars. I love it. I love the Oscars because
I watch the video game awards. That's worth.
I love movies, so I love the Oscars. And this past year's Oscars was unusually great. It was very much all about showing love and respect to cinema and keeping things positive. And it was a great show. It was a great show.
That's a whole load of bullshit. That's an extra load of bullshit on a side of fries. You want that? You want that extra fries?
No, the telecast got great reviews. It got a great response. People loved it, and the reviewership ticked up. Mostly because they were nominating movies that everybody had seen. So they nominated movies that people actually went to see in theaters too. So yeah.
The problem is it's Hollywood. The problem
is that it's on network TV. That's the problem.
I can't wait for them to die off network TV.
And they need to put the Oscars on free TV.
Hey, whatever sells their vote. They like getting low ratings. It's fine.
Yeah. It was great.
What
It
are
was
you
great.
looking at?
All right.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, the next thing on the chopping block, the Sound of Freedom.
All right, but go see. Wait, I just want to say, go see Mission Impossible 7, and don't see Indiana Jones 5. Just don't. And Indy 5 is not a bad movie. It was okay. It was better than the fourth movie. But both of those movies, you can just ignore them. They never happened.
No, they're canon. They happen. They
I
have
know,
numbers.
but you can just easily ignore them. They're
Same
so
thing
bad. They're so bad. You can just pretend they don't exist.
Same thing with Disney canon. But anyways, we're on to the next part of the chopping block of our little fiasco of a video. The Sound of Freedom, which I have my tickets for tomorrow. But from the way things are going on, it looks like AMC is trying to sabotage the movie with the AC's not working and stuff like that. And this is a film that was a huge success that outdid freaking Indiana Jones 5.
That's so funny. I'll laugh my ass off. That movie makes more money domestically than Indiana Jones 5. It's not good. It's probably not going to happen, but I mean, it's good. You know, I mean, the Christian conservative flyover state market there's still a lot of money there, and that's why the Passion of the Christ 2 can still make a lot of money.
I'm just gonna say this: for a film
Huge
that
money.
had about a $2 million budget or something like that,
Yeah.
it looks a lot better than anything currently out in theaters flopping.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, I'm excited to see it tomorrow.
You're gonna see it tomorrow.
I'm
I'll probably
seeing it
see it
tomorrow.
this weekend just because
I'm
it
gonna
just
see it
is so
tomorrow. I'm
funny.
gonna see it tomorrow and give my own movie review.
I know.
Because this is a movie about the whole thing about child trafficking. Something that apparently the media and Hollywood seems to have something against.
They don't have anything against it. What they have a problem with is that it's not about child trafficking at all. It's like about this one guy. It's based on this guy with an organization that is doing more damage in saving kids from child trafficking than actually just saving the kids. They don't do any help. They have no real resources. They save the kids and then they disregard them completely. They do all these weird espionage shit that can get the kids killed too. And the movie itself is all about like just proselytizing this guy and some politics in the image. It's not about child trafficking at all because they don't care about the kids. It's all about some political messages and sticking it to Hollywood while using a Hollywood's way of doing things to make a lot of money. So I see why everyone could see the bullshit, but it's clearly going to be an entertaining movie. So why the fuck not? Like,
I mean, that's the whole point of a film. The film is not supposed to preach or tell me.
no, but it is preaching.
No,
It is, but it's preaching from QAnon believers. That's the funny part about.
What I'm trying to say is the film should not preach political messages to me. I don't need that in my life.
But that's what it is.
And
It's a conservative political message. But it has nothing.
We got a bunch of it on the other side.
And
we
it
got
has
one political conservative.
But that's the thing. It has nothing to
Wow.
do with saving and protecting kids. It's just.
Listen,
It's
either
just
way,
there.
Either way, if there's explosions, I'm going there to see explosions.
Yeah, but it just looks like a fun, hilarious,
It looks like
laughably
a movie,
bad
it
movie.
looks like a movie that you know is going to be
But that's the
entertaining.
funny part though. Even though the critics that criticize that problem say it's still an entertaining movie, and the critics like the movie, they give it a 77%. They gave it better reviews than Indy 5.
See, that tells you a lot. It tells you a lot. It doesn't have to be a whole serious, straightforward, on the book money type movie. It just needs to be entertaining.
Yeah. Even one critic that was like, okay, so all this thing about them saving kids is just complete bullshit. This is just like, this is something else, but it's still fun. It's still entertaining, and it's like, that's okay.
You know,
That's okay.
I've got nothing against the fact that it's giving a message or not giving a message, if it's sticking to what it's supposed to do or not. So long as the movie's good. That's my only concern. I will have justified spending whatever amount of money that ticket's gonna cost.
It's also like a change of pace, where people are burned out on the woke stuff that's going on in Disney, Marvel, and other studios, and the whole SJW stuff. So there is like a market for this, for an audience that's tired of this, who want to go see this. And as long as it's the thing that is going to be appealing to that audience, like don't say that you're anti-woke and then make a woke movie like Ben Shapiro's stupid ass. Ben Shapiro's a fucking moron. Like he says he's making movies that are anti-woke and appeal to conservatives, and all of his movies the main character is a woman kicking ass or killing somebody. Granted, they're not like overpowered with like muscles beating everybody's ass, but they're like using guns to kill people. And even in the movie with Gina Carano, she's like, we're gonna do the thing that your father isn't doing. Like she's saying like your father isn't here, so we have to do his job. And it's like, this is very woke, and everyone that watches his movies, that watch his show, who are conservative, are like, this is really woke. We're being lied to by Ben Shapiro. But this movie, Sound of Freedom, apparently isn't lying to anybody. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It tells you it's about a child. About child trafficking. It's not lying. There is some element of child trafficking.
And there are liberals and atheists like me that love Passion of the Christ. It's a fantastic movie. And the Passion of the Christ is such a beautiful, wonderful message of love and forgiveness that can be appealing to everybody. And it was brilliantly done through such violent content. And Mel Gibson is, I might disagree with his politics and his faith, but he's a great filmmaker, and he is the only filmmaker that has made violent exploitation movies. Because Passion of Christ is a Christian film, but it is like a 1960s violent exploitation movie. And he is the only director that really makes those actual movies. With Passion of the Christ and Apocalypto, like Quentin Tarantino doesn't really make those movies. He makes satire. His movies are satire. They're great films, but they're satire. They're not real violent exploitation movies. They're satire. Mel Gibson's violent movies are the real thing. That is for real.
You want the special on the Double House Bacon Egg Toast Sandwich? Go for a Mel Gibson movie. I'm talking about food. I'm probably hungry. Probably. But The Passion of the Christ is a film that I watch maybe 3 times a year as a reminder that, love, forgiveness, compassion. The thing, though, is that you're not going to get a film like Passion of the Christ done from a mainstream Hollywood film. It's just not. R-rated movies just don't seem to be on their.
Well, it was the controversy with it that made studios walk away, and then Mel Gibson made $280 million. So even though Hollywood might not like all the dumb shit that Mel Gibson says and does, Hollywood will always have their respect for him with the way he did that.
Yes.
They'll always have his respect.
So when it comes to
I mean, there are many Jewish executives that respect him in spite of Mel Gibson being an anti-Semite. So
listen,
really,
listen.
Money talks at the end of the day.
You can be whatever you want, as long as you do your job. That's all that matters, really. Mel Gibson, maybe being an anti-Semite, you can have whatever thoughts you want, however views, whatever. He does his job. He does it right. He does it well. He does it good.
It's the way Hollywood is, and Hollywood still gives straight white men multiple chances. It is what it is. It's just the way America is. It's the way Hollywood is. If you're a black or brown person or a woman, if you do even 1/10 of the dumb shit, your career is mostly over. Like you got to go through like purgatory for 10 or 15 years. I mean, Mel Gibson's comeback is here. He's making Lethal Weapon 5, which I want to see.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
It should have come out 20 years ago. It should have been made 20 years ago.
I'd say like about 18,
It should have come out in 2003. Really. When everybody still wanted to see Mel Gibson, it should have come out then.
However, because it is coming out, it's coming out much later, there is a possibility that he will get a blockbuster success.
Yeah, I think The Passion of the Christ 2 could be a huge success.
And the thing is, conservative viewers have their preferences that are aligned on films, certain interests that intersect. Passion of the Christ is something that's going to blow up huge for them, with them, if it's done correctly. If it's just done like your random throwaway Indiana Jones 5 film, no. However, one thing that I do want to bring up, because this is covering entertainment news and media.
Yeah, the movie cost $14 million to make. It's made $49 million, and it's still going to be chugging along. Yep.
Which one?
Sound of Freedom.
Oh, look at that, 14 million.
Yeah,
My number was
it's a
all
success.
12.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And you know what? I think Hollywood after this year, they're gonna stop spending an obscene amount of budgets for these movies.
you're gonna look at
They
14 million
got
budgets.
no. They gotta try to bring everything back down to like $150 million. You know, which is what these movies were costing 10 years ago. They gotta bring it back down because these movies are too expensive. 250 million, 300 million, 350 million. Yeah, Avatar 2 was a massive hit, made $2.3 billion, but it's like those movies are guaranteed to make $2 billion now.
So
that movie made $2 billion without the help of China. And Avatar 2 made $2.3 billion, making less money domestically than the first movie, and less money in the foreign box office than the first movie, which I never expected to happen. I thought it would make less money in the foreign box office and make more money. No, I would make less money in the domestic box office and more money in the foreign box office. Instead, it made less than both and still made $2.3 billion.
See, the problem is
Crazy.
and this is the problem with Hollywood, is that they think that, if we have this IP, we can just throw out whatever, it'll make money. Kind of like Disney.
Yeah, and Avatar 2: The Way of Water is a super woke progressive movie. It's just done so well because James Cameron isn't man-hating. The main character is a man who does everything he has to do to protect his wife and his kids, and it's like it shows.
And he still fails.
It's like he fails somewhat. Yeah, big time. But still,
let me be accurate. He fails somewhat to a degree that out of his kids,
not all of them survive.
not all of them survive.
Right.
It's not your
Yeah.
Disney magic.
But that's the thing.
But
But that's the thing. It's woke. It's progressive. It's all about the environment and loving your environment, loving your people and your culture, and loving nature and all that stuff. But it's just done so well, and just people love the visuals and the aesthetics so well, so much. The movie is a box office hit because James Cameron knows how to preach a message and then entertain an audience all at the same time. And he's had about 40 years to master that. He's had 40 years to figure that out.
Now, when it comes to a lot of things, I do want to say James Cameron is someone I enjoy their films. I enjoy the films.
I enjoy his movies a lot.
Now, but the next thing we want to talk about, and because this is a perfect opportunity to segue into it, since it covers part of Disney, Bob Iger has gotten a contract extension.
Yeah, which good for him. I'm happy for him. That's great. Papa Iger is still in business, but it also means that there's no CEO at Disney that's coming up to replace him. I mean, the woman that could replace him, who has the most credentials, is in retirement. She's 63, 64. And so I'm thinking to myself, he could just get James Murdoch. James Murdoch is a liberal. He's a Democrat. He wants to work in Hollywood. He wants to be CEO of Disney. Just let him get the job. Let him do it.
I would say Nelson Peltz would be more ideal for that. But hey,
Just let him do it.
I don't believe your political party should be a factor. I believe your credentials, whether or not you are able to.
But that is a factor in the job too sometimes in Hollywood.
Well,
Not all the
Hollywood,
time, but the
yeah.
thing is, James Murdoch, he's already got the credentials. He's a James. Yes, he's a Democrat and he's a liberal, but he has such long business acumen. He has such a deep business history. He knows how to start things that are successful. He got Fox News and Rupert Murdoch into business in China 23, 24 years ago. So, I mean, he could do it. You know, I mean, he failed to get Sky News and the Sky Network owned by to get that deal signed and sealed for his father. But he could run Disney. He could totally run it, and he could bring a young, fresh, new eyes. He knows how to count the cost and to see what's working, what's not working, and he's good at firing people who need to be fired. He's great at that.
Not like Bob Iger, who was.
Or if you want to get a woman, get Rupert Murdoch's daughter, who's the oldest kid. Get her to do it because she started more successful businesses. She started very successful networks. They had a ton of reality shows. I can look it up in a little bit. You could go on talking, but I mean, she can do it too.
When it comes to the Murdoch family is basically your pure gold of oil.
Lachlan is stuck with his father, and Lachlan sucks at everything, but he's stuck with his father, and that's who he wants to be under. But the daughter is great. She's smart. She's intelligent. She can do it. James could do it too. And the reason why the Murdochs are coming to my mind all the time is because they're both in their 50s. They're both relatively young, middle age, and they can do it.
Now, Lachlan is the only Murdoch I would not put in any recommendation.
Yeah, he sucks. He fails at everything.
The other two are the son and the daughter that are capable of. They have the credentials, the record, the proof, and the work cut out. Work through and shown. They have it all listed. What are we looking for now? Herbert Murdoch spouse.
No, we're gonna spouse. We're gonna be kids. No, go ahead, talk. Keep going on.
No. I was.
I'm just looking up.
But anyways, when it comes to Disney, here's the issue. Bob Iger, I don't think is looking for anyone. I don't think he's.
Yeah, Elizabeth Murdoch. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so.
I don't think Bob Iger. Put your glasses on. You can't see without them. Bob Iger, I don't think is looking for anyone. On top of it, he's just there because. Well, he never left.
Shine Group. That's the group she created. Before it got bought up by 20th Century Fox. Career. Yeah, they purchased a lot of NBC affiliated television stations. Okay, she also lives in the United Kingdom. Shine was acquired by News Corporation, which is her father. And, nepotism, it got required. But when she created that Shine network, they had a lot of successful television shows, a lot of successful programs with a shit ton of subsidiaries. Okay, let's look at the program. I got it. Master Chef. Okay, yeah, Junior.
Master Chef.
Okay.
All right.
The Best Bakery.
She created Master Chef.
Yeah,
that's
the whole thing is a franchise. There's Broadchurch, which was a successful show. The Island, Lilyhammer, yes, Master Chef, Master Chef Junior, Ultimate, all the Master Chefs. I mean, everything. She would be great Disney CEO.
Is that Saturday Night Live?
Night 2. That's something in the UK. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. She would be perfect to be a CEO of Disney, and she would be very cutthroat. I mean, if you don't want to make her CEO of Disney, make her CEO of Lucasfilm. Have her replace
Kathleen Kennedy. Because Kathleen Kennedy, under her leadership, every single
she's terrible
project,
at running a franchise.
Every single project that
She's
has
a
come
great
out of
movie
Lucasfilm,
producer. Terrible. Great movie producer, but under her watch, these IPs and these franchises are just dying. Star Wars has lost its popularity.
It's lost its value.
Viewership is shit. Even when Star Wars is great. Andor was a masterpiece. Nobody watched it, and it was incredible. And a lot of people watched it, but not
enough.
Not enough. And
just the fact that Kathleen Kennedy is the head of
Indy 5
is enough reason alone to warn any Star Wars fan to warn. That's a terrible project. I'm not watching it.
And Indy 5 is probably going to lose $300 million.
I think a little bit more because you have to take into account marketing.
No, $300 million.
Oh, okay.
That's the number.
Well,
like how is she still in
she must
this
have
job?
some serious dirt on somebody there. She must have some serious dirt on Iger and the board members.
Well, she's been in the business since the 80s. So she knows everybody.
I just think that if you're gonna find a CEO, the Murdochs, Elizabeth Murdoch would be ideal as your female CEO or your head of charge of Lucasfilm. Truth be told, I don't believe Iger is going to even nominate a CEO. I don't believe he's capable of, because when he left, a lot of the stuff that was going on in JPEG was caused by him under his presence. JPEG was just picking up the slack, and then when they got rid of JPEG, Bob Iger picked up all of the crap that was going on that he started. So it's kind of ironic in a poetic sense.
Actually, no. Bob Iger inherited a clusterfuck that was created by Bob Chapek. The reason why everything got out of control and the project started getting worse is because Bob Chapek took away creative decisions from the creatives and gave it to a bunch of businessmen in suits that don't give a fuck about entertainment, art, or whatever else. They just care about shareholders and putting out a message, and also putting out a shitload of content out to Disney Plus. And because the creatives lost their creative decision making, everything just got a whole lot worse. So when Bob Iger coming back and Bob Chapek getting fired, he's trying to put all the decisions back to the creatives, but Rome wasn't built in the day because all the stuff that's been coming out in the last 7 months was getting made under Bob Chapek. So this is the shit that Bob Iger is dealing with. You're not going to see Disney starting to get its foot back on the ground until 2024.
I don't see Disney making anything of a foot on the ground, let alone even touching the ground.
No, next year things will get better because that's when you're going to really start seeing Bob Iger putting his pedal to the metal, fixing a lot of stuff, and that's where you're going to see things starting to get a lot better, where the creatives like Kevin Feige and everybody else will actually start making decisions and choices that will serve the franchises and the IPs well based on storytelling and entertainment. Because Bob Iger's watch.
I don't see Feige making a good Marvel film in a while.
Well, he just did.
I think
he just did. With the help of James Gunn, they made a great movie, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
No, but that was James Gunn's work mostly.
Yeah, but that was Kevin Feige too. I mean, he was in charge of those movies. He was in charge of all 3 of those movies.
But
he just picked the right director to work with. But here's the thing: Bob Iger made Disney the most powerful studio in the world.
I think
he could get back to doing that.
I think he plans to sell to Apple.
That too. That would work too. That would work perfectly.
The FTC should get involved then and there.
No.
Yes.
No, it should happen.
No.
It should happen.
No.
No, I agree. It should happen. No, that'll be the best thing to happen for Disney. That'll be the best thing to happen for Disney shareholders, Disney investors. If that can finally happen, which would have happened if Steve Jobs was still alive, Disney selling to Apple, and Tim Cook becomes in charge, that would be the best thing to happen for Disney. It would be great.
I just feel that
especially since Apple respects the theatrical movie window, because Killers of the Flower Moon is getting a 90-day movie release. So
I don't see anything under Apple being good enough. Being good. I just don't. Apple's having its own issue.
Have you seen their shows? Most of their shows are good.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you say so.
And their movies are good. They know how to make quality now. The first year was rough. The 2019 was rough, but once those shows found their footing, they got better and better and better. For All Mankind is a great show now. C got better. The Morning Show got better. Dickinson got better, and it's really good.
I need to buy me a. The point is though, is that Bob Iger's back. He never really left. He never really left. He's back. He's got a contract extension until 2025.
Well, he had his own office. I mean, he was undermining Bob Chapek when he and Bob Chapek had a falling out, and I don't blame him. Bob Chapek's a fucking moron. That is the worst Disney CEO of all time. Bob Chapek was so bad, he got fired in under 2 years, and he makes Michael Eisner look like a genius by comparison.
Well, Eisner did.
Michael Eisner was good the first 10 years, but once his partner died in a helicopter crash,
it went down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when Disney went down because Michael Eisner hated Roy Disney, and Roy Disney hated Michael Eisner. And so after 1994, which was their biggest year at the box office with The Lion King, and they won the Oscars, everything for song, animated, everything. That was their biggest year. After 1994, Disney went downhill. That was it.
I think getting Eisner back would probably have some pros.
No.
But anyways,
when he got replaced by Bob Iger saved Disney. Disney's stock 20 years ago was in the shitter.
Well, and stock today is still in the shitter.
Oh yeah, the stock is bad now, but Bob Iger made Disney what it is. Like, Disney became the most powerful studio in the world by 2019 because of him. And they're still the #1 studio at the box office. They just got to get their shit together on so many other different things.
Well, anyways,
they brought in the most box office this year.
Well, the most box office bombs, yeah.
No, I mean the most money so far.
Oh.
More money. Warner Brothers is bringing in not only less money, they're having more flops. Although, actually, ironically, the movie they didn't focus too much on is going to be a big hit this summer is Barbie. So, yeah, the movie they didn't really care about at all is going to be the biggest success for them this summer.
A Barbie film, but hopefully it's not political and does not say anything political because.
Well, it's gonna have a big opening weekend.
It's gonna have a big opening weekend.
That's what Warner Brothers wanted, and it's not super expensive either. It doesn't cost like $250 million. It's like,
Oh my god, it's almost as if G.I. Joe could be the same way if they did it right.
G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe. Well, that's Hasbro. Excuse me, that's Hasbro.
What G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe.
For who?
If Warner Brothers were to pick up the G.I. Joe franchise, and
That's
do it
not gonna
right,
happen.
Yeah, I know. G.I. Joe's
Paramount has that.
Oh, sweet. Well,
And
Paramount
since
could do much better if they did it right, if they stuck to the comics and they
since-
stuck to the stuff rather than go with all of this other crap that doesn't make any sense.
And since Transformers: Rise of the Beast is not doing great at the box office, but it's not doing the worst, you could get the Transformers versus G.I. Joe movie. I mean, why not? What else does Paramount have? And Paramount is doing worse financially in terms of stocks there than Disney and any other studio. And their only real asset is Taylor Sheridan and all of his TV shows, even in the middle of all the chaos of the writer's strike and Kevin Costner wanting to leave the show.
So, like, when it comes to Paramount, if anyone, well, they're gonna need to fix themselves before anyone can buy them, because no one's gonna buy a burning boat. No, we're playing for the worship. However, the last thing I want to touch up on is Star Wars, the Ahsoka trailer, the Ahsoka series. Have you seen the new trailer?
It was great. It was fantastic. It was. Well, okay, it was great. I mean, yeah, the trailer is everything is very female focused because of Kathleen Kennedy. She got to do all that, but I love it. It just looks great. Rosario Dawson looks awesome as Ahsoka. She's really in character. The other cast that got playing the characters is a Star Wars Rebels fan. I feel vindicated just seeing all this coming to life. We got Chopper, we got the ship, we got Hera, we got Sabine, we got all these characters. We got Ezra, who's on a hologram who could show up physically. Whoa, that's what we said. Hologram.
No, he's on a.
It's a hologram.
Whatever. I found the name.
Anyways, it's great, and so hopefully we'll see him, and that could lead to like a big crossover event or whatever else. But it looks great. I'm enjoying it. I'm sad Ray Stevenson died this year. He died young too. He's 58 years old. Who plays the Dark Jedi. He was such a great actor. He was such a good actor. I loved him in Dexter and Rome. And so this show, hopefully, if it's great, it's like his last hurrah, which is good. That's good for him.
I'm gonna be honest. I saw Rebels. I watched it. It was entertaining. I was able to enjoy a lot of it. The trailer to me seemed a little boring. There were some inconsistencies between the characters from Rebels to the show's trailer. The fact that Ahsoka's personality has changed greatly from Rebels to the show. Sabine's personality, Hera's personality, everyone's personality seems to have done a little bit of a flip, a little bit. And it's something that doesn't give me positive sense.
Yeah, it's weird how this show is basically taking place 12 years after the Rebels, and something happened, something went on to where they're all really, really depressed. Like they all look super sad. They all look very depressed. Like I don't know what went down. We're gonna find out. And apparently Sabine was being trained by Ahsoka. That was news.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
I was like, wait, she's a Jedi?
Wait, she went.
Mandalorian culture is
Mandalorian.
That's not really a thing.
I'm like, wait, Mandalorian was being trained as a Jedi? That's cool. I was like, that's freaking new. So I was like, oh, cool. I like this.
Do a little side move to put this to charge, ladies and gentlemen. So the battery's a little low. Or shall I do it?
Let's see here. There we go. There we go. It's plugged in.
All right, we saved the stream. We saved the computer. We saved the stream. Wait, is it plugged in? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's plugged in.
Anyways, so whatever happened in the show, between the show to the series, I want to know what's his name, the alien guy again?
What alien guy?
The guy with the ears that looks kind of like a Gundam.
Yeah. What about him?
What's his name?
I don't know.
Maybe he died. Maybe that's what happened. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Well, we all know that freaking Jedi himself died, saving them. Maybe they're the person about that still. They haven't been able to mourn and move on. That would be kind of
Yeah,
odd.
maybe Ezra. Who knows? Yeah, and Ezra disappearing. And that's the thing. They've been looking for him for like probably 12 years. Haven't found him. And Thrawn is alive, so they gotta go after him because
What
there's a
upsets
connection
me? What
there.
upsets me was the facial appearance for Thrawn. That upset.
I loved it. It was great. He
That
looks like
upset me.
Thrawn.
No, the fact that he had that extra layer of cheeks.
I loved it. It
I was
looks like Thrawn.
No, that's not what it just looks like.
He looks exactly like Thrawn. I love it. It's great. And I love the actor they got him. Who's great. He's a great actor. You know, who's been underused for a number of years. It's like playing. You know, it's. I'm just like I'm so happy about this show. This show actually looks good. And if it's really, really great, it could get nominated for an Emmy Award, apparently, because Obi-Wan Kenobi, a terrible show,
Terrible
got
show.
nominated for
terrible
in a limited
show.
series category. Like, what the
A
fuck?
terrible show was nominated for an award. That tells you how terrible it is.
But
it was
and,
so terrible
and,
they had to nominate it.
and luckily, House of the Dragon got nominated for 3 Emmy Awards, including in the Best TV Series Drama category, which is great. But none of the actors got nominated, which is sad. But I have a feeling if that show keeps getting better with each season and keeps getting great reviews, that could change in the long run. But I'll say this. I'm very happy House of the Dragon got love. The Last of Us got 23 Emmy nominations. Pedro Pascal got nominated for Best Actor. Bella Ramsey got nominated for Best Actress. Got nominated for Directing, Writing, and for Best TV Series Drama. Succession got 27 nominations, and I think Succession is really a lock to win all the Emmy Awards, or most of them. I think Succession is going to win big. It's going to win Best TV Series Drama because season 4 was such a perfect masterpiece. It was so incredible, and each episode was like a cinematic masterpiece. And in my personal opinion, Succession is the greatest show ever made, by far. And I think it's going to be debated about and talked about for a number of decades. It's going to be analyzed for decades. It was so. HBO really knocked it out of the park with that show with Jeremy, what's his name? Jesse Armstrong, I think that's his name, the showrunner of Succession. So yeah, that's the leader of the pack, and also great news. And luckily, this Jesse Armstrong, the writer and creator of the show, he knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was just incredible. But I will say this. To House of the Dragon fans and to the Lord of the Rings fans, we got vindicated today, obviously, because Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power didn't get nominated for any Emmy Award. None. It got completely snubbed. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power got snubbed, and I'm so happy because that is the worst season ever. That is the worst first season ever. For a very high budget show, there is no excuse for it to be that fucking terrible.
I'm just happy Lord of the Rings was not even put in the list because you know what? That entire series was.
It was awful.
Water.
You seen the whole thing?
Bullshit, yeah.
You saw the whole thing?
I saw the whole thing. I was so disappointed.
I saw the whole thing too.
I had moments where I'm watching it.
It was so boring, so badly written. The dialogue was terrible.
I'm watching it. I'm doing this a lot.
The philosophical statements were the worst. It was nowhere near on the level of Tolkien. It was more like a 7th grade reader type of dumb shit.
I'd say 5th.
And fifth. And it was like, and the writing was so awful where you had the Harfoots who were saying we don't leave people behind in the first 2 episodes. And then you watch the next 2 episodes, they leave people behind. They're a bunch of psychopaths. Like if people get injured, they just leave them. And they're like, we leave nobody behind. And they have a list of people that they left behind and they read it off and they laugh about it. Like, what the fuck? This is terrible.
What infuriated me was the whole thing with the elves. The half-cut mohawk.
Oh yeah, I know.
Really bold.
Fucking buzz cuts on elves.
And I'm like, that's not what an elf does. Elves don't do that.
And the whole diversity casting was for the sake of diversity because it
was still terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like you had a black Puerto Rican elf, and he was the only Puerto Rican elf. There was no, so he was the only elf.
You know.
And then you had dwarves who grew up in caves, right? And you have a black female dwarf, and she's the only one. And then they try to lie to us at Comic-Con and saying that the female dwarves have beards. It's like they don't have beards. They have whiskers, you fucking idiots. It's not a beard. It's not a real beard. It's what I got. It's a whisker.
Through a lot of written and established lore, whether it's mythology, whether it's something you want to consider,
And then you have Lord of the Rings fans.
of written literature that's not true.
And then you have Lord of the Rings fans gaslighting fucking each other, trying to say that, oh, well, that account was written from an elf who are prejudiced against dwarves, so we don't know. But I'm like, well, that in and of itself is fine. You can go there. But they could have been creative with that, right? Where publicly the dwarves, the men, want to cover up their women and put beards on them so no one could look at their women. And then they were in the caves and just take the beards off anyway because they're in caves. They could have done something like that. That would have been somewhat faithful to lore, because that would have been somewhat faithful and would have been creative and smart and funny. But they couldn't even do that because the writers are a bunch of fucking idiots. They're a bunch of amateurs. They couldn't even do that. And you have fans trying to make that claim, but they had no other corroborative evidence to somehow prove that elf was lying because he's a racist.
Well,
okay.
Well, no.
Because there are other dwarves that actually confirm what he said. So, there was all this gaslighting going on. There was all this gaslighting going on with these fucking Amazon shills on YouTube with their YouTube channel. I used to love the One Ring, those fucking shills. I used to love those guys until they just completely shilled over Amazon because they wanted media access and to get extra money and sponsorship. And then after the season premieres, it was absolute shit. And then 5-6 months later, they admit, yeah, it was disappointing, it was terrible. I'm like, yeah, after all the division and disrespect you chose to do, and Amazon trying to highlight these racist idiots on Twitter that make actual Lord of the Rings fans look stupid and bad, instead of just focusing on the fact the show looks terrible. And then you had other Lord of the Rings fans criticizing me for thinking that the show's going to suck. It's like, oh, well, it hasn't come out yet. You don't know. I'm like, just look at it. It looks fucking terrible. And that guy, the man, is clearly Sauron. And I was like, you don't know that. You haven't seen the show. But they're giving it away. I'm not even a Tolkien nerd, and I can pick that up.
When it comes,
Tolkien fans are not stupid, bro.
When it comes to Tolkien, people who follow his work
are some of the most educated people on earth.
Are extremely educated. You may have a few people who are not,
these people
say college, master's, bachelor's, university degree graduates, but they're hell intelligent.
Like Tolkien,
they know the stuff.
Tolkien is taught on the college level in Harvard, Cardiff, which is in the UK, Cardiff College, and other high universities in the UK. He's taught in Harvard, he's taught in Yale, he's taught in Princeton, he's taught at NYU as well. I mean, everybody that is studying and knows Tolkien have college degrees and are super educated. These are not stupid fucking people. And then they try to basically try to treat Tolkien fans like they're stupid when they try to say that the Harfoots, that this is a prequel series, right, that takes place like thousands of years before the events of the Lord of the Rings book trilogy and Peter Jackson's masterpiece of a trilogy. They try to say the Harfoots are not hobbits, they're Harfoots. They're the ancestors to the hobbits. And then all you have to do is, I don't know, read Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, where it says Harfoots are just another version of hobbits, they're still hobbits. Like, you're trying to lie to us, and you think we're stupid.
They wanted you to believe all the beautiful lies that they could come up with, whatever excuse to make it all valid.
You thought we were stupid.
And what's worse is the fact that all the lying that they've done, all of the inaccuracies
and
that they have performed,
and the mainstream liberal leftist media tried to gaslight everybody even before both of those shows premiered. House of the Dragon and Rings of Power. I remember I was reading articles saying that, oh, the Rings of Power panel was incredible. And it was a great panel. Even though the showrunners were a bunch of morons saying dumb shit. It was a great panel. You got 32 cast members. There was panel number A, which was like 30 minutes, 40 minutes for the first 16 cast members. And then they went away and they got out the next 16 for part 2 of the panel. So it was like a 90-minute, almost 2-hour panel. And it was like an event. Even to open up the panel, Bear McCreary was playing the score from the show. And he's a fantastic composer, and the music was beautiful. That was great. And then you look at House of the Dragons panel, it was boring as shit. It was just a traditional panel. Well, I looked at that after the weekend. I looked at both panels, and I was like, why was the House of the Dragon panel so fucking boring? And why was the Rings of Power basically like a Broadway play, right? It was like the best Broadway play. Because Amazon knew that their show was probably shit. So they had to put on a show to convince you to sign up to watch it. Meanwhile, HBO and Warner Brothers knew that they probably had a good or great show, so they didn't need to show off anything. They just were going to have a traditional panel, Q&A, have the actors say some stuff, and then the show premieres and blows you away. And what happened? House of the Dragon did better every week than The Rings of Power, got better reviews every week, got a better reception, the viewership was great, it was beloved, it was amazing. Yeah, book fans like me were a little bothered with the changes in the last 2 episodes, but the final episode was still great. And as a whole, it was a great show. It wasn't the greatest adaptation, but it was really good. And look what's happening. It won Best TV Series Drama at the Golden Globes. It was their first fantasy show to win that at the Golden Globes.
Why did
Amazon?
Why didn't The Rings of Power win? I was so looking forward to seeing.
Rings of Power didn't even get nominated. Yeah, it didn't get nominated for a single Golden Globe. House of the Dragon won Best TV Series Drama, which was so shocking that even the showrunner, Miguel Sapochnik, that's how you say his last name, I think. No, not Sapochnik. Yeah, Sapochnik, I think. Miguel, the showrunner, who was the co-showrunner, was shocked. And so was 2 of the cast members. I remember RC and the other actor who plays Rhaenyra. She was shocked. She was drunk. She got drunk because she didn't expect to win. And she was on stage fucking hammered. It was great. But it was like, holy shit, House of the Dragon just won. And it just got nominated for 3 Emmy Awards for the Best TV Series Drama. And Rings of Power didn't get nominated for shit. So there you go. There you go. After all that dumb shit that happened last year, with everybody trying to gaslight Tolkien fans and Lord of the Rings fans.
I'm gonna say this right now. Having watched Lord of the Rings, I'm more so easily prone to being hostile.
And now Star Trek Discovery is finally canceled, thank goodness. And it was abruptly too. They had to do this emergency thing to get all the cast and crew back to reshoot the last 2 episodes to end the show because it wasn't an ending. It was a setup for season 6. And it's canceled. So finally, that woke show finally is just, after years of burning fucking cash, is finally ending.
I'm gonna be honest.
And they're firing all these diversity people in all these studios.
That's one more thing I want to mention with this video in our
It
stream.
took y'all fucking forever, man.
The diversity, equity, inclusive, the diversity chiefs, whatever the fuck called.
And I feel bad for these black women because they were taken on for a ride. As far as I'm concerned, they were hired to do a job. That was designed to basically lose money by caring more about like a woke leftist thing or whatever, virtue signaling.
It was never
and
concern.
And in the last year, they've had a series of flops.
And you know what's worse is that these diversity chiefs were just another position for an already existing position.
Yeah.
So when Disney got rid of theirs, everyone got rid of theirs. This is a possible shift in the production for movies, TV shows. And
Disney fired their person too.
Yeah.
Bob Iger's firing him now too. And look, I always tell this to my SJW friends: if you're gonna go in Hollywood, you better do a great job, because if you fuck up and you start losing money, all of that political woke having a seat at the table is gone. It's over.
No,
It's
no.
like-
the political
it's
woke
like-
sitting at a table does not exist. You're just there. You're not there. You're just there.
Yeah, and it just goes out the window, and then you're fired, and then you gotta look for a job. I mean, what a lot of these people need to do, and it's tough because
Get
they
off
don't.
the high horse,
They
boy.
well, it's tough for them because they don't know how to create. They don't have an original thought. They don't have an original idea.
All they know how to do.
A lot of social justice warriors and leftists don't have like an original ideas. So they try to take something that's created.
There's no creativity on their
So they
head.
try to take something that was created and to incorporate their leftist liberal political ideology
And beliefs.
into established franchise and IPs, right? Like Star Trek, Star Wars, now Indiana Jones, and whatever else. And that's what they're doing. But if you're gonna do something, you gotta be creative. Like what Tyler Perry did, right? Tyler Perry has a net worth of $1 billion. He started his own studio. He created his own character called Medea, and he focused completely on black representation, not just in front of the camera in movies, but behind the camera. In his movies, he has black editors, cinematographers, writers, production assistants, camera crews, everybody.
Lighting,
He created lighting, all of it. Everybody's black. He created his own studio that replaced a slave plantation in Atlanta. His whole studio used to be a slave plantation in Atlanta, and it's his whole studio. And he films shows and movies all the time at a very small budget.
Listen,
right?
I'll
He
be
can film.
honest.
He can film a whole movie in like a week.
No,
right?
it's not
7
just that.
days.
It's not just that. It's not just that. Tyler Perry, whatever you want to say about him personally, I don't care. The man is creative and is able to create original things.
He created an
You know
original
what?
character.
Yeah, it shows.
Literally his character.
His shows, his movies are all about black representation, black production. I'm a white guy. I'm Spanish. I guess the only black movie is a Native American. That's not even black enough. I enjoy his shows.
Yeah,
I enjoy his stuff because they're entertaining. They're not preaching. They're not scolding me because I'm not.
The political statement
Whatever.
was the political statement was in the hiring practices. That was a political statement.
That's the only thing. And you know what? He doesn't take that political statement from the hiring practice and throw it in your face.
And he deals with political issues, but they're successful because he knew that appealing to 12% of the American population was going to be successful. And the movies are all very cheaply made. They would cost like $1 million or $2 million to make, $5 million to make, and they were making like $80 to $100 million in total. And to these SJWs, you got to do that because you're coming into studios that were created and owned by straight white men on paper, and you're coming in to try and create something that was created by them, and you're doing a terrible job. And you're making movies that are flopping. And so that seat at the table you had for a couple of years is now gone. And now Paramount is canceling Star Trek Discovery. Alex Kurtzman, they extended his contract, but they like Bob Bakish is looking around the past 6 months and he realized that Taylor Sheridan shows are not as expensive as Star Trek shows, and they bring in the most subscribers on Paramount Plus. And those shows are bringing in, and 1 out of 3 people on Paramount Plus are watching Taylor Sheridan shows. So on Paramount Plus, his shows are bringing in the most subscribers, are bringing in the most viewers,
and the most money.
And his shows are very political and are very progressive and woke in a lot of ways. Like he's got the Lioness series coming out, which is based on a female-run CIA organization, run by women. All women, portion of the CIA.
I thought it was a division.
It's a division within the CIA that is an all-female run division.
I might watch it.
And the show is coming out, and it's probably going to be really, really entertaining, and a lot of people are going to watch it. He's got Bass Reeves coming out, which is finally a show about one of the greatest lawmen who was black, who basically ran west of Mississippi in the late 1800s. It's like, I mean, it's like... And so now Star Trek, which is, and you can just see the difference here. You look at Taylor Sheridan shows, progressive and woke, well written, great, entertaining, bringing in viewership. Star Trek, woke, mostly shit, and it's wasted money, burning cash, and now the franchise could potentially be on ice. Even though season 3 of Picard was great, I do love Strange New Worlds, but here's the problem with Strange New Worlds. And this is the thing with Akiva Goldsman. Akiva Goldsman isn't woke. He just sucks. And he has no originality. He has no creativity. Akiva Goldsman loves to adapt and remake shit. That's all he does. And that's what he's doing in Strange New Worlds. He's taking something that was done in TOS and he's trying to remake it. There's no new shit going on in Strange New Worlds. It's just a fucking remake. That's it.
When it comes to woke,
and he's breaking canon for no reason. He changed the eugenics wars and Khan's age. In the year 2022 or 2023, they made Khan 10 years old. So the eugenics wars are not even going to happen until like the 2030s or the 2040s.
Yeah. Like no, but here is the thing when it comes to woke, and this has been said on the internet. You can find it in YouTube comments. You can find it on a lot of social media posts. You'll probably find it in a couple videos too. woke cannot create; it can only corrupt and destroy. That's like the comment that a lot of people have taken and planted into themselves because it's what they're seeing.
Which is not the right quote from Lord of the Rings, but yeah.
It's not the right quote from the Lord of the Rings. However, it's the most.
No, I mean the
accurate-
quote they use
Oh.
is not even an accurate quote from the book, but no, yeah. I mean, look, it's they had their fun, and now Hollywood is starting to cut their losses.
Thank God. About time. It took what? It took 20 years for them to do that shit.
Yeah, they're gonna look back on this in 10 years and wondering why
Why they ever did it?
we did this. Like why?
Oh, because at that time it was political and we had to get involved. No, your job is just to make entertainment.
Because
Your job is just to entertain.
because we had a bank, whatever.
Silicon Valley Bank, SVB.
No. Because we had BlackRock, who the
BlackRock,
powerful
the
bank
largest
that
investment
wanted investors and everybody in studios
to do
to
what
be
they want.
politically conscious, right? To be woke.
Listen.
And a lot of bad decisions got made because of that.
BlackRock and both Vanguard are two of the leading factors behind that. BlackRock is now withdrawing, saying we didn't do anything. Well, of course not. You did. Of course you did something. You
Well,
were
they're
there.
losing money now, yeah. They're losing money now too.
And from what I've heard, my cousin's girlfriend's sister or niece, whatever they are, is someone who goes within the investment field. They said that BlackRock has lost money not only from the investment, but the investors are slowly withdrawing their money from BlackRock.
That would be something.
That is also an issue as to why BlackRock is now turning tail and they're like, oh, we're gonna go away. And Vanguard is slowly doing the same thing because they are not taking that big of a loss as BlackRock, but they're slowly losing money.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it is what it is.
It's inevitable. I'm gonna do my own.
And you know, I gave Star Trek Discovery a chance. I tried.
I couldn't.
Season 3 was good. I liked season 3.
I couldn't.
But
first three episodes turned me off so bad. I was
the
like,
first 2 seasons are not good at all. The first season 3, I liked. It was good. I was enjoying it. Season 4 started off good. The first 7 episodes are good, and then after episode 7, it completely fell apart and became a melodramatic cry fest. And where characters are crying in every single episode. It's so unrealistic. It's not Star Trek. It is absolutely terrible.
It's dog water.
And I don't understand, like, a lot of the man hating goes on in some of these new Star Trek shows. It's ridiculous. Like in Star Trek Discovery, where you have Uhura and other female cadets putting down the men that are inspecting their ship, which is their job. And Uhura is like telling this guy not to look at what she's doing or her position of what she's doing. And I'm like, this guy is her superior and she's a fucking ensign. Like, what is going on here? It's like none of this is even believable.
You know,
And
in the military,
it's just going on and on. And
in
even
the
though Strange
military,
New
if you do
Worlds,
that in the military, if you are speaking to your superior in such a manner, either you're gonna get dishonorable discharge, or you're gonna get court-martialed.
yeah, and I did love episode 2. I love episode 2, Strange New Worlds. Episode 3 was it had some good moments, but the canonical changes to the eugenics war in the main timeline is it's like they're just retconning the eugenics war and breaking canon for no reason, basically for no reason. That entire like episode should have taken place because the eugenics war was happening in the 90s from Khan. That whole episode should have taken place somewhere like the 1960s or 70s. So something like that. I mean, changing that was for no reason.
Either way, those are our thoughts here while you're looking for your next item. The one thing I want to bring up is that with diversity hires now coming to an end, the diversity chiefs and the top positions, their seats are being revoked. They're being kicked out. They're being told goodbye. We don't need you anymore because their job was to find problems where diversity and inclusivity needed to happen, and by doing so, they've damaged so many brands, franchises, and IPs. This is not me saying that they don't belong there or no one of any minority group should not belong in the franchise. No, this is me saying when you put someone whose job is to find a problem and create the problem, or to find a position where it is to create a problem, you're gonna have problems and your losses are going to accumulate. We have now come to the point where every company is starting to realize this and they're cutting their losses as fast as possible. Additional losses, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, these are just my thoughts on the matter. However, the one thing I do want to mention is...
And they gotta just go back to hiring people. Just hire people that know Star Trek.
hire people based off credentials.
The only reason why
Hire the fans.
The only reason why 90s Star Trek was great is because Gene Roddenberry, he hired writers that didn't know a lot about Star Trek, and he hired writers that knew a lot about Star Trek. But here's the thing. All those writers worked under Gene Roddenberry and learned what Star Trek was and were able to figure things out, especially after he stopped being the showrunner and stopped running the show, and he got sick and he couldn't do it anymore. That basically saved the show. And Star Trek Next Generation became a great show because Michael Piller, who was was making people believe he didn't know anything about Star Trek, and that's how he got the job, and that's how he became showrunner, and he knew everything about Star Trek, and he was the guy that created Star Trek canon with TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. He was obsessed with canon and keeping everything together. And that's why Star Trek '90s was so great, because he kept everything connected, and he was responsible for some of the greatest episodes and two of the greatest Star Trek shows of all time. Deep Space Nine is probably one of the greatest science fiction shows. Period. Changed the game forever. And Voyager was great. And then Star Trek burned out and went to shit because Rick Berman thought he wasn't getting enough credit for what he was doing, and decided to be a writer and a creative, and he wasn't. He sucked. He was a producer. He was a suit. He wasn't a writer. He wasn't a director. He wasn't a creative. And with Star Trek Enterprise being such a juvenile pile of shit, he ran the franchise into the ground, and there was a huge burnout. And with new Star Trek, the burnout just happened before it got started. Like it didn't have a chance. It shot itself in the foot before it could even get going. And Star Trek Discovery had no vision, no focus, no idea, and that's why that show had been rebooted multiple times. You had season 1, people didn't like it, so season 2 was different. People didn't really like it, or were polarized. Season 3, we're going far into the future. We're rebooting everything. Still not great, but looks like it might get better. Season 4 fucked everything.
When it comes to the burnout for the destruction of beloved franchises, IPs, and shows, we can only blame the
making.
No, we can blame.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
For the bastardization and destruction of the franchises, the IPs, and the shows that we all love, we can only blame not the showrunner, not the producer, the executives who are putting these people who are inept and incapable of handling such responsibilities.
Yeah.
Look at Kathleen Kennedy. She won't hire anybody who's a fan of Star Wars. I don't know why. Fans know the shit back of their hand, like back of their head. They know exactly where that little piece of feathers are on the back of their head without looking in the mirror.
And even though Strange New Worlds has no originality, it showed that all the gaslighting that was going on 6 years ago was complete bullshit. And from Star Trek fans doing the gaslighting, saying that, oh no, classic Star Trek doesn't sell anymore. It can't be a hit. And here comes Strange New Worlds. It's classic Star Trek. It's a remake, but it's a classic Star Trek where it's episodic. Each episode is dealing with its own story, and it's a huge success. People are loving it. It's got great reviews, great audience response, and viewership is good. And this is the one Star Trek show that's not getting canceled. It's like, I can't even. I mean, it's like, and then season 3 of Picard comes out, which was very serialized, but it was a great Star Trek story that gave TNG fans what they wanted. And the last 3 episodes were some of the most wonderful 3 hours of Star Trek television ever, which proved the gaslighters and the so-called Star Trek fans who were gaslighting people that they were wrong again, and that Patrick Stewart was fucking wrong too. And they, like, after Alex Kurtzman is hopefully gone someday, they gotta stop doing this. Stop hiring people who don't like Star Trek, don't know anything Star Trek, to make Star Trek and to make other franchises for other people. Just stop it. It's not going to work. Star Trek is never going to be Star Wars. Star Trek movies are never going to bring in $700 million to the box office. Like Fast and Furious movies and Star Wars movies. It's just never going to fucking happen. So stop trying to make it happen. Make Star Trek for Star Trek fans. You can have writers that can come in who are not big fans to bring in their ideas, but just focus on that audience and appeal to that audience that
focus
exists.
on your core audience. Don't
And
focus
make
on the
them
new one.
happy. And when they're happy and they're watching it, then other people are going to watch it. At the height of why was Star Trek so popular in 1994? 1994 was the height of Star Trek's popularity.
Yes.
TNG was averaging like almost 100 million viewers worldwide, or 50 million viewers worldwide, somewhere between there, somewhere between 50 to 100 million. Deep Space Nine wasn't as beloved, but it was finding its groove. The toy sales for Star Trek were fucking crazy. And the merchandise sales were great too. That was the height of Star Trek's popularity in 1994. And why was it? Because the core fans were fucking happy. And TNG was just this rare science fiction show that was appealing to a general population. There are people that don't even consider themselves to be Star Trek fans or Trekkies that love TNG. Like TNG just really, it transcended itself. It was so popular. I mean, I could show you footage of this stadium in Toronto that sold out 50,000 tickets to see the series finale of TNG, All Good Things, back in May of 1994 in Toronto.
So
like,
wait,
I mean, that's crazy.
I'm now under the belief that CBS, Paramount, Disney with Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy.
No, but see, that's the thing with Disney.
No,
Here's the
they
thing.
hate the fans.
No.
They hate the
You
fans.
can't put Disney and Star Wars in that category of what they're doing, because Star Wars is at least run by Star Wars fans, right?
No, it's
Kathleen Kennedy is just incompetent. That's whatever. But Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau love Star Wars.
No, those are the only two. They're the only two. They won't hire writers.
So even if they make a dud, like the Book of Boba Fett, which was terrible, they're still fans making mistakes, right? And Jon Favreau, season 3 of The Mandalorian was not as good as the first 2 seasons, but Jon Favreau's still a fan. Dave Filoni is a huge fan. He's making the Ahsoka series. I mean, you see him at Star Wars Celebration talking about Star Wars and how much he loves the fans and the franchise, and he's crying on stage. He has literal tears coming out of his eyes. It's so wonderful. And so even though Star Wars has its hits and misses and its issues, it's still being made by people that do love Star Wars. Whether they're consistent or not is beside the point. Star Trek, for the first 3 years, when it came back in 2017 to 2020, was not being made by Star Trek fans. Lower Decks is made by Star Trek fans, but Lower Decks is a comedy that is satire. And yeah, the showrunner, Mike McKinnon, he loves Star Trek. He's super Trekkie Trekker, fine. But he's making a comedy, and it's an animated series.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be taken seriously. So even that itself is tainted to a large degree. Because Star Trek is not supposed to be a comedy.
But anyways, this is the issues that are plaguing a lot of franchises, IPs, entertainment, media, films, shows, such. And we as fans can only hope that a proper reintroduction to the series is committed. Because we're already familiar with the series. The new people are not.
And you don't see a lot of you see some man-hating in Star Wars. But not even to the degree of in new Star Trek. Like Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 1, you had this white guy, this guy, who's a complete fucking prick, right? He's a prick to everyone, and he's just mansplaining and being an asshole. And then he dies, right? And everybody's laughing and cheering when he dies. It's like the amount of man-hating is ridiculous. And at the Season 2 premiere of Discovery, the first 2 episodes are so focused on women, right? And the women are doing everything and kicking everybody's ass. And then one of the actors who plays a Klingon stands up after the premiere is over, and this is according to people who are there. She stands up and she goes, "Women!" And when I heard that, I was like, oh God, that must have been torture. Must have been absolute fucking torture. But it's all coming to an end, hopefully. I'm
hoping that this woke era, because that's what it is. It may not be a whole century, but the era of wokeness and all this whatever shit nonsense comes to an end, and we get back to actual stuff again. Or maybe companies just don't want money. I don't know. One or the other. But this is just my thoughts on the matter. Anything you want to say before we send off the fans, the viewers?
Nah, this is it. That's all I gotta say.
That's all we gotta say. This is my thoughts. My name's Steve from Steve's Thoughts and Nerd Talk with Brian J from Brian J's Nerd Talk.
This is Brian J's Nerd Talk. It's good
Good seeing you.
seeing y'all. We didn't get a lot of viewers on this video, but the previous video I got like 2 viewers. I couldn't believe it.
I've had 3 on one. We'll get there. We'll get it there. So again, thanks for staying with us. Thanks for hearing us out. Thanks for hearing us talk about a lot of these things, vents, rants. If anything, may you guys have a good night. Take
Yeah.
care.
Take care. Have a good night.
Where's he going?